guys, so in today's video I'm doing a Copic speed paint, and for this one I wanted to focus on a specific type of light source because I watched this Skillshare video about different light sources and I wanted to try one of them. Today's video is actually sponsored by Skillshare, so thank you so much Skillshare for your ongoing support of my channel. It's now 2020, it's a new year, a new decade, people are making new goals, new resolutions, and I'm sure a lot of you have some goals related to art. Maybe you just need to brush up on some skills or you want to learn something completely new. You can learn about anatomy, designing characters, lighting and color, which is what I did for this video. Skillshare is an online learning community that can help you with that. Not only are there videos to help you learn and discover something new, but there are projects, there are discussions. It truly is a community. My favorite thing to do is just explore the site and see what I can discover because I don't even know what I want half the time until I find it. We all have busy lives, so one thing I like about it is that the videos are broken down into smaller videos so you can very easily jump around to the topics you want to learn about, or you can stop halfway through and come back later. So I came across this class by Gabrielle Bricky called Painting Light and Shadow, The Basics for Portraits and Characters. And holy smokes, this is probably my favorite Skillshare video I've seen to date. It was so insanely helpful. I was taking notes the whole time. She covers light and shadow like it says here, and I got so inspired seeing this. There's so many different types of light sources I want to try now. And that's what inspired this art because I saw a specific light source and I thought I want to try to do that. If you don't normally check out the classes I recommend, this is one you absolutely must see. Not only did I watch the entire thing, but I know I'm going to be going back to rewatch certain sections. There's just so much good info. If you're thinking about joining Skillshare, it's extremely affordable. Their annual plan runs you less than $10 a month, so it's much cheaper than other types of classes and workshops out there. And that's for unlimited access to all their videos. Also, if you join by clicking the link in the video description, you will get your first 2 months of premium membership for free. So get out there, explore your creativity, learn something new. So as you saw at the beginning of the video, I was sketching in my sketchbook. You will get a tour of that one in about a month from now. I just kind of want to beef it up a little bit more because I haven't had a whole lot of time to sketch the last few months, but now I have some dedicated sketching time earlier in the day, and it's much better than leaving it to the evenings as a maybe. So anyway, I was sketching during a live stream. That's why you see my face in the corner of the video, so sorry about that. Once we get to the line art stage, it goes away. But I was just planning out what the heck I was going to do. I did some warm-ups, and then I was testing out different ideas because initially I drew a person, well, it was very rough, a person holding a shawl or something behind them because I saw something similar in that Skillshare video. But then I decided I wanted it more close up on the face, and then I was drawing this girl kissing a cat, and I really liked it, but also not really what I want for this. I had to keep reminding myself that I wanted something that would work well for the lighting I had in mind because this is sort of like a practice for me, so I wanted to keep it simple in a way. And yeah, pretty much I had very strict requirements in my head, but I didn't know initially what those requirements were, but I figured it out, and I decided to go with this pose here, which is a little foreshortened. You're seeing her from a top-down sort of view, and she's looking up. Her hair is blown in the wind. Yeah. And I knew I was going to end up liking a thumbnail and then blowing that up larger and using it as the base for a sketch, which is why I was recording this live stream. I was like, eventually I'm going to find something I like, but then I'm going to be mad that I didn't record it, so that is why I just straight up used the live stream footage. So yeah, I scanned that sketchbook spread, blew up the image in Photoshop, made the background white, and then printed it out and used that as the base for the sketch. And then I transferred it onto my cardstock using my light box. And for the line art, I'm using some Prismacolor pencils, and I'm using yellow and then a warm brown. Technically, it's Tuscan red. I was trying to really think ahead with this and really plan out the colors, the lighting, that sort of thing, which is why I did a lot of sketching. There's stuff you didn't even see, like the very, very initial planning is not even in this video, but you'll see it in the sketchbook tour. But yeah, because with Copics, they're not opaque. So you can build colors to be darker and darker, but if you get too dark, there's not a whole lot you can do to lift the color. And so I thought, you know what, I need to make sure I know what I'm doing ahead of time. Although a tip, if you do need to lighten some colors, you can use stuff like gouache, acrylic, paint pens, stuff like that. That can sort of be last minute help, especially if you want to just add some little details at the end or some flyaways on the hair, but there's already a background, stuff like that. But yeah, I really wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing before diving into this, which is why the line art is half Tuscan red, half yellow. It looks really weird when it's not colored, but it makes much more sense when it is colored. This is why it's good to have photo reference for the lighting, because sometimes I'll use it for the anatomy, sometimes for a pose, but I never really look up reference photos for the light source like this. For this one, I didn't have a specific reference photo, but I did have one in mind from the Skillshare video that I watched. I'll actually insert a screenshot. That's the one I kept in mind while I was working on this. So she's being backlit from the sun. So she's facing away from the sun, the yellow shining through her hair, but also the part of her face that's not facing the sun. Yes, it's in shadow, but not an extreme shadow because she's still being lit by the area around her, like the light's bouncing off the clouds and then down onto her face, and that's causing blue highlights. And then the shadows are a warmer color, so I did sort of an orangey, peachy tone for the shadows. So those are my requirements: the yellow in the back, then the blue highlights, and orange shadows. At least for the skin, that's where it was more pronounced for this one. Something I picked up from that video was that when you do have a cooler light source, the shadows tend to be warmer. And I don't know why that's just never clicked with me in the past, because I always think, okay, shadows are cooler than the rest of the coloring. And I never thought it could be the reverse. It's one of those things you never observed it yourself, and you were never told that in any kind of lesson. So when I saw that, I was like, what? Wait, what? I feel like this is something I should have known by now. So it just clicked, but also I felt like an idiot. So this drawing is sort of an experiment, testing that out. Although not every drawing needs to have a crazy lighting situation. Really, this is not even that crazy. The effect is actually quite subtle, especially with the blues and stuff. But, I draw pretty cartoony, so it's not always gonna have something super interesting for lighting, but it's really fun to try this out. I don't know why. That video just got me so excited about it. I'm just thinking of all the possibilities. I have this book by James Gurney about color and light, and I've read it, but it's, one, been a long time, and two, I never really sat down and tried to purposely put that stuff into practice. So I'm just thinking of the possibilities. I want to bust that book out and try something else new too for another piece of art. So yeah, it's pretty exciting because I felt a little bit limited with Copics, but you can get amazing effects as long as you know what you're doing ahead of time. So one thing I did wrong, but I fixed later after completely finishing the artwork, is the hair when it swoops up towards her part, I didn't make it follow the line of the hair. Like, it doesn't swoop along with the hair. Like the part of the hair that swoops over her eyebrow, I almost treated it like that was where her hair was coming from. Like the lines in her hair all converge there. And I'm like, why? They should have swooped upwards towards her part. So I don't know why I did that. Maybe because my paper was turned, because I turned it because the vertical lines are much more easier than horizontal lines. But yeah, I fixed it later. I didn't even notice I did that until I was editing this video, and so I had to bust out the art again and fix it up. So you won't see that fix here in this video, but it'll be fixed if you get a print or something. Initially, I was going to have flowers throughout her hair, kind of Rapunzel style, where Rapunzel has flowers in her braids. I was even going to include some skinny braids in her hair, but I decided against it. I just wanted it more free-flowing. And when I sketched in some flowers, it looked kind of weird because I also have petals floating around her, and so it looked like the flowers were just also floating around her. Like, yes, there would be shadows where it would connect to the hair, that sort of thing, or the hair pieces could be overlapping the flowers, but it would still look like they're floating around and just touching her. Like, it was a little confusing. So I decided to just eliminate that and instead have a couple petals that overlap with her hair and leave it at that. Although she does have the one flower tucked behind her ear, but that's it. I'm actually really happy with how the hair turned out because it's not just simple rim lighting like I've done in the past. If a character's backlit, it's like, oh, just a yellow outline on the edge of the hair. But This has the light shining through the hair, which makes it just look so vibrant. I love the look. And initially when I was planning this, I was going to do some color in the background. It was going to be yellow by her hair and then more light blue on the opposite side. But I ended up leaving it white because it looked so good like that. It just gave it that glow that it needed. Like there is this super intense bright light around her and behind her. This art kind of gives me old school Baylee art vibes. I don't know if it's because the level of detail in the hair is more similar to how I used to do it. I mean, it kind of changes from art to art. Sometimes I do more simple hair shading, other times I make it more strandy like this. But I think also color-wise, it's reminding me of this drawing I did. I think that video was back on the Zed Kitty Zed channel, but it was that girl leaning backwards and there are these little things shooting through her and the blood splatter. That's what that makes me think of, but maybe because the colors, because the pink and brown, but also the hair kind of flowing. I don't know. And it also kind of makes me think of this drawing I did way back in the day when I say it like that's even further back. It's not. Back when I did the Patreon videos, I did this girl with purple hair, and this also reminds me of that for some reason. I don't know why. It's not that similar, but meh. But yeah, it gives me old school Baylee vibes in a good way. I like it. I really like how this art turned out. I think that's all I have to say about this, so I'm just going to leave you guys with some music for the rest of this. And I just want to remind you about that Skillshare offer to get your first 2 months for free. Link is down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.